property tax adopted on
Brenda.
consideration of the tentative budget. Therefore, I just
Presented to Tricia Sorensen. Professional Firefighters of Maricopa Local 4561 is forever in your debt for your contributions to the City of Maricopa Fire Department. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. As you may have noticed, this is Tricia's last meeting with us because our new city manager will be coming in and starting on Monday. And Tricia will be around to help make that transition, but you know, we owe her a very heartfelt thank you, and probably a lot of thank yous. But if not anything else, a super big thank you.
How big, Mayor?
I don't know, something like this big? If you guys would come on down with me. So we too got you a few little things that you might enjoy, including a non-broken plaque. Just wanted to point that out, unless I drop it. And so this one, Tricia, you got to come up here. You can't sit there anymore. Come on up. So we're going to give you the plaque, and then we'll get to the fun stuff. Right over here? That's right. It says, to Tricia Sorensen, with deepest appreciation for being the best interim city manager ever, twice. Thank you.
So Tricia, in your time here, we've also come to know things that make you tick and what works for you. So a bag of fruit slices. And we have a gift certificate for Bosa Donuts. There you go. And then just a token of our appreciation on behalf of City Council. Thank you so much. And yes, so for those days when you're really thirsty, we got the big size of Coke. But for days when you're just a little thirsty, we got you the little kids.
These are mine.
That's for Tricia.
I didn't plan on saying anything. I didn't plan on anything happening tonight. I just want to say thank you to all the directors. They embraced me from the moment I got here. Gosh, You're gonna make me cry. Greatest group of people to ever work with, and I am so proud to be a part of that. And I want to thank you guys for inviting me back. It was unexpected, and I can't think of a better council to work with and to lead this city. And you guys are going places, and it's all because of the work that you guys do. Like these guys back here, plus these guys. So thank you very much, and never forget the fact that you made me cry in public. But thank you very much.
Thank you,
I love you
Tricia.
guys.
Thank you. We want to thank Tricia again. Someday I'll tell you all the stories about how we went and recruited her out of retirement to come and be an applicant for a possible stint to doing this job. And once she was granted the job by the city council, boy, we made her work really, really, really hard. And so I wish I could express to you how much she has gotten done, how much she has had to do, and you know, just there's so much work as a city manager, and people don't realize it, but boy, I think it was a bit of a surprise for the first couple weeks back on arriving here very early and going home very late, and you know, just the amount of work to do over the weekends, et cetera. So again, we can't ever thank you enough for stepping up and doing that for us. We appreciate it. That concludes our acknowledgments and proclamations at this time, and that'll take us to the report from the mayor. Just a couple of quick things here. Obviously, in the previous meeting, we had the opportunity to talk about some of the ribbon cuttings we've attended, the newest retail establishment, Dunkin' Donuts, so that's always exciting. We're always happy when any new establishment comes to town. Also, had the opportunity to meet with Councilmember Wade and meet with Congressman Tom O'Halloran, who is our congressional representative. He spent time in the district last Saturday, I think it was, and so we were able to meet him at the Maricopa Public Library and spend a couple hours with him, which is a really rare occasion to get to do that with a congressman. Even when we go to DC, we probably only get 30 minutes at most, just because, you know, they're so packed and so much stuff going on. And so to have the opportunity to really outlay the challenges and the issues that are going on here in the city, in the region, the county, the state, was a wonderful opportunity. I think we were able to really kind of enlighten him on some of the ideas and thoughts and challenges that occur here. And he actually had the opportunity to beat us all to the punch a little bit, and arrived a little bit early and drove around and saw firsthand some of the challenges. So again, that is an excellent thing to have, you know, in Congress. You know, whoever our representative is, you know, it doesn't really matter to us as a city council, you know, politically what side of the aisle they fall on. What's important is that we have somebody there that is representing our interests and being willing to listen to us. And so, you know, again, whether it's his predecessor, whether it's him, whether it's his successor, whoever it might be, we are really appreciative of the time that any congressional representative will give to us and hear our challenges and fight for our needs and responsibilities when they're in Congress. So again, that was an excellent opportunity. We also had the opportunity to attend the ADOT meeting this time in Globe. They did approve the 5-year plan. You've heard me talk many times about this, but the 5-year plan is a living document, a living entity. It has to deal with the things that are on the docket right now, and then hopefully in the future, but whether there are funding for those things or not is what is trying to be identified in that 5-year plan. But every year those things change, and so as we are able to get more of our things that are shovel ready and ready to be put into the 5-year plan, we continue to be there. It's kind of funny because when you're at a reception and people start coming up to you and asking you, so what is it that you want here exactly? Because you're here, and so if you're here, you must want something. And you know, I jokingly tell them, well, yeah, of course I want something, but you know, I'm giving you a little reprieve right now. But don't worry, I'm not going away. And yes, the asks are coming again. So it's all a matter of being ready to ask at the appropriate time with the appropriate information and having those relationships built. I also get teasingly joked with by one of the members of the board that they're going to revoke our money for the 347 overpay. overpass if we're not there. It's a good relationship to have, and it's a good position to be in when they, you know, kind of expect you to be in the audience. And so those are good positions to be in. Vice Mayor Chapato said earlier something that I think is really important. She mentioned the fact that the new way of doing business is a model that we got to lead on and we got to set. And that is that if you want things done, especially if you don't fall into probably the big three projects for ADOT. You know, the big three projects are things like the widening of the I-10, the Highway 189 through the Port of Maricopa, the widening of I-17 through Black Canyon. These are some of the big projects that they are dealing with. Now, it's not to say they don't have others. They have hundreds of projects. In fact, there are I remember, if I remember the slide correctly, there are exactly 98 projects going on in the state of Arizona currently. Now, they weren't all approved in 1 year, but those are all construction projects, the 347 overpass being one of them. And those are billions of dollars worth of money and dollars going towards those projects. And in order to be in those projects year after year after year, it's really hard to break that ceiling and to be on one of those 5 or 6 projects that get approved to be in the 5-year plan. And you know, of course, there's lots of little ones, but I'm talking the big ones, the ones that cost $50 million, $100 million, you know, even $25 million, stuff that really takes a placeholder. And one of the things that one of the board members called out was that you know, more people needed to follow the example of the city of Maricopa, and why that was important, because of what we did from relationship building to networking to explaining the reasons and rationale on why this was a public safety hazard, and then on top of all of that, coming to the table with funding. When you come to the table with funding, you suddenly go from the bottom of the stack to the top of the stack. And so it was interesting because when they got to this 5-year plan, 3 of the projects that were in that plan this time, 3 of them were because they had followed our model. And I had 2 of the people after the meeting that were the lead people on that project who I see at all the ADOT meetings with me, and we jokingly, you know, sit and tease each other about how many meetings we've been at and sit next to each other. And, you know, they were just so happy that they had finally achieved their goal after all these years of being in the plan. And they turned around to me and they said, you know, we followed your model. And I find that really interesting because at this day and age, it's about doing things differently. They came up, shook my hand, and just said, you know, this really worked, and it's incredible. So it's a package deal. We all have needs. We all have our hand out. We all have things that we want to see. But until we're willing to align the stars and put together all of the aspects to which makes it politically feasible, to makes it funding feasible, makes it a reality, you've got to align all those things. And if you don't do it properly, then you're simply excluded, and you'll stay in that bottom of the pack forevermore, or at least until something breaks or, you know, beyond recognition. And so that takes many years, and there's lots of other things that raise to the priority level. So I just find that very interesting, that if we want to continue seeing our projects come to fruition, then we need to continue that model. And as we see that things change over time, then we'll need to increase that model or change it differently to be different than everybody else. But I think it is important that you all be recognized for the work that you've done and the process in which you go through to make this happen. So again, congratulations to you. And then finally, I had the opportunity today to attend a GPEC Ambassadors meeting. As you might know, I'm the chairman of the GPEC Ambassadors program, the Greater Phoenix Economic Council, and Denise was there, and today's particular topic was on water. We had the director from the Kyle Institute of Water there, as well as somebody from who's with SRP currently, but was with the former Arizona Department of Water Resources. And I passed out to the council members on your seats in your office. There's a booklet that they have put out jointly with ASU, and it's really fascinating to learn about water in this state. And while we always talk about drought conditions, one of the things that they continued to mention was that Arizona's done an amazing job about planning for that drought, and we sock away extra water that is not utilized each and every year based on our allocation. And you know, one of the quotes in there talks about economic development, and it says this: they went around and they surveyed a bunch of developers and retailers and others, and they said, you know, tell us about the difficulties you find with water. And they flat out said this, which I think is equal to the other phrase that I use all the time, which is, you know, whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting. And never is that more true than in the West. And in Arizona, if you want to develop something that is economic development oriented, right, if you plan to bring a building out or locate a business or whatever the case is, you have to have water. And Maricopa County and Pinal County and Pima County and Cochise County, they all are in what are called Arizona, active management areas. And these water management areas are absolutely critical towards growth. And you cannot bring something out of the ground, whether it's housing, whether it's an industry of some sort, if you cannot prove a 100-year water supply. And so, you know, the water doesn't magically appear, folks. You have to barter for it. You have to trade for it, and it's really pricey and really expensive. And so, but Arizona's done a phenomenal job of socking this water away so that when the droughts happen, we'll have it. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't be, knowledgeable about this resource. We have to continue to respect it and to conserve it, and do things where we don't utilize it wastefully. But if we do, then when these things happen, like you see California, when they go into these panic modes because they've suddenly dropped below the level that year than what they expected, they don't have anything planned. The Arizona Water Act came about in 1980, and we've been going along with that act in these water management areas, since 1980. California is only 2 years into this, and they haven't even gotten anywhere yet. And it's controversial, and it's difficult, and it's hard, and it takes a lot of sacrifice. But in the end, what you get out of it is you get growth. And they showed a chart, and I'll have to get it and show it to you all, but they showed a chart that showed that from 1980, the differential that happened because of the increase in growth, increase in population, increase in overall businesses and economic development was tenfold over the many years since 1980 to today. The differential, though, in what we've actually used in water has declined. And people say, well, how can that be? Well, there is some amount that is saved when agriculture moves to urbanization. But the other side of it is that we are just so much more efficient in the way that we manage water, from the people, your household appliances, to the way that we deal with it in parks and irrigation, sprinkler systems, farming, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it is fascinating to see that Arizona has really tried to do a really good job about planning for its future. But again, you cannot have economic development if you do not have water. So it's one of the most crucial and key things that we can have here in this city. Again, just wanted to touch base and report to you all on some of the major things that I've been attending. And so with that concludes the report from the mayor. We'll turn the time over to the report from the city manager.
I have nothing to report.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well, that takes us to the call to the public. At this time, we have one speaker card. We'll ask her to come forward first. Shelley Gillespie.
Good evening, and let me just also add, Tricia, now you can go back and enjoy your grandchildren. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, staff, and neighbors. I'm here from Copa Shorts Film Fest, and I want to let you know we've got some terrific films coming in. And first up, we will have our workshops. We have one on September 14th in Santana at Poston Butte High School, and September 15th at Maricopa CAC campus. And at the festival itself, which is going to be at Maricopa's High School Performing Arts Center, PAC. Topics are going to include things like drones, sound, the business of filmmaking, acting, smartphone filmmaking, and a number of more. So far we've had films, and this isn't total inclusive because not everybody identifies where they come from, but we've had films from California, Tennessee, Massachusetts, New York, and Pennsylvania, and a lot of really great films from high schools. And most genres are already represented. We're receiving films, and we will continue to until October 27th. And we're almost at the end of our early bid period, so the procrastinators will come in quickly next week. But if you know people who also are writing screenplays, we encourage them. We always get very few screenplays. We'd like to have better choices and more choices to work with. But we're featuring students' films February 23rd at the PAC, Maricopa's High School Performing Arts Center, for middle and high school films. We'll have an award ceremony that day, music and party. And on the 24th, we'll have all the other genres and categories mixed together with parties and VIPs and music. So we want you all to join us, partner with us, give our city an economic development boost, and work to make this the great festival in year 3 that it should be and will be. So thank you very much for your participation and involvement. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. Appreciate it. Anyone else like to approach the podium at this time? Call to the public. Seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close the call to the public and move to the item 7, which is the minutes. We have 2 items to address, 7.1, 7.2. Council, can I have a motion to approve, please? Have a motion. Is there a second? Second. And a second. Any further discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. We have no public hearings at this time on Section 8, so we'll move to the consent agenda. Please remember that the consent agenda is minus 9.1 and 9.4 as they've been pulled. So can I have a motion to approve 9.2, 9.3, 9.5, and 9.6, please? Have a motion. Is there a second? And a second. Any further discussion on those items? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. That'll put us items 9.1 and 9.4 on the regular city council agenda. Councilmember Gussie, I'll turn the time back over to you, and then we'll move those as a slate just based on the reason that we pulled them.
I just want to recuse myself. I am an employee of Arizona State University, and I believe that it's unethical for me to make any decisions based on the fact that I get employed and I get paid through Arizona State University. So therefore, I'll recuse myself from these 2 items.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. So again, the items as a slate were on consent. The only reason that they were pulled was because of the conflict. And so can I have a motion to approve items 9.1 and 9.4, please? Have a motion. Is there a second? Second. And a second. Any further discussion on those items? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. And 1 abstention or recusal. Thank you. And guess what, folks? That's it. That's it in a nutshell. Easy peasy, right? Hey, thank you very much. We appreciate all your help. Council, you're not done. You get to go back to more e-session fun. So get comfortable. I know, you're not done. With that, can I have a motion to move to e-session, please? Is there a second? And a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll stand adjourned until the second meeting in July. Hi. Very much so. No, I screw that one up all the time, so I'm glad I said it.